basket of chicken wings? Really? Amazing. What are you gonna do with the rest of your life?
She was danger, danger when we were out. Danger when we were out. Danger, danger when we were out. She was danger, danger when we were out. Danger when we were out.
I don't know, sometimes,
Danger,
is this even working? This doesn't even make sense to me. I've got this volume control on. Man, I feel like a boomer. Oh man, I shouldn't instigate generational mess and whatnot. What's up? It's the boy. Excuse me. Actually, James Boyd. Let me get the camera on here. Yo. What is up? So, sorry you guys get to see some crazy wet hair today. It's been hectic, psycho crazy. That's why I look late show. 9:15 on the Eastern time. Can you guys hear the music? What do you guys think? You want to hear some music? Sep Rock Beats. Link in the description. I might not have the exact right link. Just looking at the camera, I apologize. I got this sort of ghetto setup, so I'm working with what I got. You know what I mean? The show must go on, and whatever. It's, you know what? That's just some fucking shit. That's why this is better than CNN. Fuck CNN. Oh no, CNN's gonna come after me. Sorry, CNN. I didn't mean that. I apologize in advance. It was in the heat of the moment. All right. So hopefully this. Give me feedback about the show, whatever. I need to grow the audience because it's gonna be more fun for all of us if we have a big audience to chime in on crazy stuff. Let me know if the music's cool or if it's not. I mean, I'll just run through the whole Sep Rock side A, B. What is this? Hold up. This is track 5 on his album. Limited edition, double LP, available on Bandcamp. You can also order it, I think, direct from the what do you call it? He also had it pressed. Well, I mean, you can get it from Bandcamp pressed too. I'm thinking it's, yeah, you can buy the record/vinyl. It's only $20. Sep Rock Beats. Go get it. It's dope. Hear it? It makes you want to rhyme. And if you don't know how to rhyme, it makes you want to learn how to rhyme. I think you can learn how to rhyme. That does not mean you're going to be a dope MC. I'm sorry. Some people's brains just don't work in the mode necessary to be dope MC. Now, let me know. Looks like we have one person in all the billions of people with a big B. In this world, we have one person on with us tonight. What is up? He's pretty unique person. So, I mean, people are gonna hear this in some archive at some point somewhere. I'm sure there's some reason there's gonna be people looking up shit that I've done in the past. If it's not even because I probably trolled somebody at some point and listening to old fucking shit that I did like 5 years ago, try to catch me in some shit. Hey, I've been saying the same shit for pretty much at least 5 years. Now, that doesn't mean I started saying the same shit. I mean, I grew up around a lot of stuff, so I was molded by the things around me, and honestly, a lot of credence was sort of given to, this notion that if someone has money, or if you don't have as much money as someone else, then by default, that means that you should be listening to them. Excuse me, sorry. I don't know if that's part of my Asian upbringing-ish. It wasn't really... had sort of. I mean, I don't even know what even is that. There were the elements of it. All right, sorry. This chair and table, everything's just. Someday, I don't know if it's better if someday I'll be in this amazing studio, like real studio, and like lights and like I don't even understand. I got this really dim light, and it still looks like I'm in like sitting on the equator or something. You know what I mean? I don't understand this. The aperture on this camera must be like psycho big. Anyway, whatever. I don't understand. I did not expect Logitech for you to adjust to this degree. Good for you, I guess. Dang, I was sort of trying to get a low light ambiance, and it's still like glaring in here. Anyway, and it's not even bright. This camera's just, I guess, pretty good because it looks like on the YouTube stream when I'm watching it back with you guys. That it looks like it's super bright. Anyways, stupid shit. Someday, I don't know. There's some people have said that yes, you need to get out of this place, and some people said no, it's cool because it's weird that you never know what's going to be in the background. Yeah, but in this direction, there's no who was that? Audrey Hepburn. Anyway, some people like that. There was fans. All right, so the whole show. By the way, yes, Sap Rock Beats. Go buy it. Bandcamp. There's a link in the description. If you want the music in the back, I can get it playing. I didn't realize. I forgot that I had it set to stop just on track 5. Anyway, the Popo. Do they gotta go, or are we gonna keep them around? What is going on? We got this autonomous zone happening in Seattle, right? People are talking about defunding the police. Superfan Chris is on. What is up, sir? What is up? Yes. So, yes, I'm sure you have heard about the movement of the defunding of the police. And, I was always wondering why we were funding them so much in the first place. So, to me, it's not about defund. It's about, why are we doing this? We already did it. We should not do it again. That should be the defund. Yes, I agree with that part. Let's not do it again. Let's defund that part. Whenever we sort of deviated from, I don't know, there's a point in time we deviated from when cops were you thought they were your buddy and stuff, whoever the cop name dude was on the Mr. Rogers. Who was the cop on Mr. Rogers? Anybody know? A little trivia for y'all. God, I can't remember anymore. Was there a cop? Was there even a cop? Maybe there wasn't even a cop. Maybe there was, they came in as I don't know if there was a recurring character cop. Maybe there was a guest cop. I don't know. I just remember something like that. But maybe it's not. Maybe I'm having a Mandela effect moment. I don't know. But I feel like there was a time, and maybe everybody goes through this. Here's the thing. Latest controversy, cancel culture. I don't know. I think it's manufactured. Let's talk about it. Because nobody really gives. Let's think about this. Let's be honest. Honesty time. Nobody really gives a shit about shit. Nobody really gives a shit. And some people make a big stink, and it's they get 6,000 likes. I mean, how many millions of people are on Twitter or whatever the fuck platform ever, and 6,000 people like it, and then next thing you know, it's oh God, you got to fire this person. What the fuck? No, you don't. Why? Just because it got in the news? or something like, "Yay, okay, why? Oh yeah." Like, "Oh, what happened?" "Yeah, we talked to her." Or we talked to him. Like there's a story about some woman goes to Africa or something and said something about getting AIDS, and then like she lands in Africa and like she finds out she doesn't have a job and she's already gone viral over the span of the plane ride. And then that goes viral, the fact that she got fired, and then I'm sure she got hired because almost because of that. It's like the universe. If you just let it roll, I mean, Tetris blocks come your way. You just never know. So for her, hopefully she was able to. I think she was able to capitalize on it because she was on the news. I mean, I think I've seen her on the news. How do I know about her? Obviously, I mean, I don't like go out to seek this information. It falls upon me. And that's the funniest thing. Like when I have the show, like it's not a show about me talking about my expertise per se because I don't go and seek this shit. It sort of just falls on me. Like I'm flipping around through my Facebook, someone says hi, someone has a, I mean I do follow a lot of things sort of on purpose to keep up with stuff. But then some of it's like I guess that is looking for things, but I'm not really actively looking. It's sort of like, yeah, I'm following some things, and sometimes I'll look and see in the stream. It's like a dip my finger in. Oh yeah, Trump just said some stupid shit. Oh yeah, it sounds like Black Lives Matter did some shit, or like, oh no, there's a big movement. Oh, something big happened. Oh fuck. And then I'm like paying attention to a couple things here and there, and then most of the time it is like that. I'm busy. I mean, that's why like shit's all crazy tonight. Late show, crazy hair. I mean the you got. I'm not gonna show you because it'll destroy the movie magic. What's going on around me? There's chaos around me. Major projects. I should start. I'm gonna maybe someday when I have the will, skill, and time, I'll set up a sub channel to show you the shit that I'm working on at Psycho. Working on a 1971 Mercedes. It's a very cool Mercedes, and I'm repairing some pieces of it, and it's like it is tricky to work on. It is like I've told a couple people this metaphor or a simile that it's like working on a Rolex, I guess. I never worked on a Rolex, so I don't really know. I just imagine, because it has so many gears and the motion is such that it is a Rolex. And it's precision tuned and da-da-da. And versus like a Casio or even a Seiko. I mean, Seiko's probably, I don't know. They probably purposely made it really complex. Maybe not. I don't know. Like Honda, for instance, was like working on. I would imagine like working on a Casio watch. Casio watch probably has like quartz crystal. There's not really much of a movement. It's just enough to get from the motor to the what's it called, to the hands. A little bit of gearing, la di da, a couple little transistor. Not even a transistor. I don't know, some solid state thing that I don't even know. And electrical engineers out there, hello, help out. Put some comments. Anyway, why am I even talking about it? Superfan Chris says, yeah, he remembers a cop on what's it called, Mr. Rogers, right? And then going back to cops, there was a time when I think that cops were like seen in a positive light. However, new theory, right? Talking about cancel culture. There was a story I saw about this canceling. Well, no, there is a pretty big story. Canceling of, what's it, Paw Patrol or something, right? Is it Paw Patrol? Canceling? You tell me. Like I said, I dipped my finger and I really have a bad memory for this stuff. I don't remember this stuff. Oh, by the way, I gotta drink this. I'm already dehydrated. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna turn the mic off real quick. All right. So, yeah. So, but that got me thinking though, is the reason that I feel there was a time where police were seen in a positive light, was it because the only sort of messages I saw about police as a child were these sort of, narratives of, the fun, friend on the block and da da da. And I don't know. But then again, I mean, there ain't no kids on the street acting like kids in Paw Patrol, you know what I mean? So you can't, try to talk about fake shit and you're doing some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Not that little kids are going around. I don't even know. I saw the Chappelle show. He was like talking about one of the craziest things. He just looked out the window. He saw a baby standing on the corner. Just standing. Baby standing on the corner. And like he was supposed to be there doing something. And like, I don't know. There's something going on that doesn't make sense. That I don't understand, Anyway, I don't even know how we went to this concept. But there was a time, right, when maybe not. Maybe everybody has a time because all they know is a certain narrative until something changes that narrative. Maybe. I don't know. That's why we have conversations. I'm not the expert. This is the Boyd. I shouldn't have. I had a different intention for the Boyd, the show, initially. So if anyone has the idea that is watching because they think I'm going to be an expert on anything, please don't do that. However, I feel like I have some insights, and I feel like I can facilitate a conversation because all of that corporate time in corporate world has to pay off for something. And I was teaching for many years in the corporate realm. And so I feel like if we get a group of people, let's get some folks, share this stuff. What do you think? Are there some BLM people? Are there people that you know? I mean, everybody knows one. Everyone's friends with someone that has the BLM shit. You know what I mean? They got the fucking Punisher with blue, right? Or this eye. I don't even fucking know. I don't know. I don't care either. It's like, the symbolism, all this virtue signaling. Oh, I hate it. It's like we don't think about real shit. We just put up our flags and wave them around like it means some shit. Someone knows. I mean, I saw a dude driving around with these Blue Lives Matter freaking flags. I'm pretty sure it was rebar that they were tied to. Rebar. Of all the things, I guess it works. It works. I just feel like it's so heavy. Rebar. I don't know how it's secure. It seemed pretty secure in the truck bed. I was impressed with how secure it was. It must have been in some kind of holder or something. But anyway, wrong point of that. But it's like, wow, what a big virtue signal. What is that all about? Like, you just like cops so much, or you are one, and what does that mean? Because then it becomes like us and the team, our team versus the people that just want accountability. Nobody's like, until right now, really, I didn't really hear people say like, reduce police force. It was like, well, maybe it was, but it was like, hey, what the hell, hold these people accountable. Like, these people need to be realized. They need to be tried for murder for what they did. There was no reason to kill a human being in the moment, even if you were scared. Take a few licks, right? I know you have the don't want to be home and carried by I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6 or some shit, like, like, whatever. There's a asymmetry. There's an asymmetry in power. You know what I mean? Like, so that you have this guarantee of that this other person gets guaranteed to get carried by 6 because you'd rather, whatever that is. I mean, if you can't like abide by the protocol, you know what I mean? It's like, if you can't do the rules of engagement, you get court-martialed, right? Until you get kicked out, or you get sent to prison or something if you flagrantly violated. I'm sure. I didn't even do real deal military time, and I'm pretty sure that that's right. Now, people probably out there in the world can probably confirm or deny what I said. But I'm saying though, like these cops, man, like 18 violations this dude had. That Chauvin dude, 18. Like, what did he do? 18 people had some fucked up time of their life, and their family got all like wigged out. I mean, think about all the anxiety. You know, I mean, you already live in the crazy market hellscape fever dream, Ayn Rand, almost libertarian, like utopia, almost. I mean, we do have some social services, but I mean, like, damn. We're getting there. And this is, hey, take a taste. Look at that. It's burning down, just like Bioshock. You know, Bioshock was sort of Randian in its nature. I don't want to digress into a Bioshock thing, but I'm saying, though, let's think about the cops. Do they need military shit? Right? It's for the war on drugs. Do we even need the war on drugs? I mean, come on. I mean, you don't even have to be a hippie to say, like, you just go to Ron Paul. Look, Republicans, look, any conservatives. Out of the two people that are watching, the two people, we got the billions of people, right? Ron Paul, I think on his presidential run, he made the crowd laugh. Like, they jeered at him. Not, like, laugh because it was funny. They jeered at him because they were, like, a bunch of jerks. But look, watch this. Because the moderator asked him, hey, they said that you want to legalize all drugs. Is that true? And he said, well, yeah, I do. I don't know how Ron Paul talks. I'm not going to try do impersonation. Though I will do impersonation. So Ron Paul said, yeah, I do. Something like that. And then moderator says, are you serious? And everyone's like, hey. He's like, yeah, I'm serious. Can you explain? He's like, yeah. Okay, let's say everything, in all hard drugs, everything was now legal. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you would go out and get some black tar heroin right now and go shoot up? Of course nobody raised their hands, right? And he's like, okay, so why do we even need a law? Look at you. Nobody wants to even do it. It's like, should we have a law that says you don't jump off cliffs? Should we have a law that says you don't, like, you know, purposely cause yourself to go into anaphylactic shock so you could die? Right? Like, do we need a law to say that? Don't do these things that are harmful to you. Maybe I think we need to have a law to make sure people don't trick us into doing bad things like cigarettes and other shit that we don't even know that's bad for us, that they've been letting us do. Probably like burning fossil fuels, for instance. Like, we should be living like naturally over 100 years old or something like that. Even like maybe that crazy part of the Bible was right. We should be living a hell of a lot longer than now. And now what, right? We're living with all this, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Because we did have a lot of crazy shit going on with diseases and stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't there. I have no clue. But anyway, you know, maybe our perception when we're young is manufactured. You tell me, right? So Superfan Chris has put some stuff down. Let's see. Anybody else? Look, we have two people. Share it around. Get some people. I know you got some BLM friends. Oh, BLM. The other BLM, Black Lives Matter friends that don't want the police around. Or maybe they do want the police around, but they don't want it completely defunded or something. You know, I don't know. Maybe they have something. Sorry, I've been working, and I'm already dehydrated. I gotta take a drink. But hopefully that gave you some time to spread this around, like, share, and all that stuff, because it matters. And we have, like, I don't know, we are growing in followings, like 60 something. I know it doesn't sound like much, but to me it's a lot because I didn't have that many. So like it, share it, whatever that helps. You know how to twig the algorithm out. Tweak it out, whatever. I don't know. Twig it out too. Make it happen, whatever. All right. So Superfan Chris says, I had a very good convo this morning. Two female detectives. Ooh. They work in the SUV, and I must say the stuff they had to deal with made me realize that all cops are not created equally, or not created equal, and they too may be suffering. No doubt. PTSD. Hell yeah, for sure. Similar to combat military members. Exactly. So, you know, to that end, if a combat military member, pardon me, even though there is a stigma still, even though it's widely accepted, but within the ranks, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that within the ranks you would probably want to stray away or shy away from admitting any type of mental, I wouldn't say illness, but mental anything that you would qualify. So if you said you qualify your mentality, right, that someone's going to want to hold that in if you're serving, right, especially if that to that end maybe you shouldn't be in combat situations, right, because you're in a situation where you might snap because you feel your life is threatened in a really non-threatening way. Or right, you see a guy's cell phone and you don't check to see if it is real or not, or what if it's a gun, what it is. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And why put yourself in a dangerous position then? Why run up on someone like that? You know what I mean? If that's the case, right? Why don't you stay in your car and shine a light? I'm sure they have bulletproof glass that you could get if that's what it takes, right? I would say, why don't we get to the point where we figure out why we would have a situation where people need to get the cops called on them all the time anyway, right? What is it? Why? Why would the cops need to get involved with anything? And if it's drug related, what's the point? People are doing drugs anyway. There's gonna be a market anyway. If you make abortion illegal, there's gonna be a market anyway. The cops are gonna go arrest some poor girl because she had an abortion, right? That's gonna be a reality. They're gonna have to knock on the door, pull her out in handcuffs, kicking and screaming if she wants to, if she makes it. I don't know. It's a teenager. I don't know. She is a teenager, whoever, right? In the future hellscape that we must be moving towards, because I think that's what they want. These people that are in a lot of states. I don't even know which states. That's what I'm saying. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it's true. Or go look it up. Some of you guys are experts. Dump it out there, because at the end of the day, there are people that want stuff like abortion to be illegal. They want the police to have basic impunity on poor people, basically, and mostly minorities, right? The idea that the desegregation of every society changed the hearts and minds of society is completely false. Number one, I don't even want to say ludicrous. I don't want to qualify with some special word like that. It's just simply false, because it didn't. The people, just because the idea that you're gonna make it not a de facto, but make it a legal requirement to have segregation, right? There was an argument against that. Doesn't mean that suddenly everyone's opening arms and hugging each other and forgot that they were racist. Like, that didn't happen. It's like, imagine your gun nut buddy and I don't know, Nancy Pelosi becomes president and AOC's vice president. No, the other way. No, I don't know. AOC's president, and she takes away the guns, and then what? Let's say that the Second Amendment gets repealed. Would suddenly these gun nut uncles that you have, or brothers, or whoever, cousins, and whoever they are, and these people that are out there, right? I support the Second Amendment. Don't get me wrong. I support the Second Amendment. But there's some people that get so preoccupied with the Second Amendment that they forget the other amendments. Like, they'll just as soon watch a police officer kick the teeth in on a reporter in full violation of the First Amendment, and laugh and high-five the police, right? These are people who are frauds, right? I'll say it to their face, because they're frauds. What, are they going to punch me and shit because they can't use their words? That's the thing. They got to do this crazy fucking shit so that they cause harm through violence. That's their thing. They love it. They love to watch the police, watch them grit their teeth, watch them talk about it and get all with full of zeal when they see people getting ready to shoot some looters or something like that, or they watch police dominating on some unarmed people because they think that they have the right to yell at police. Yeah, well, now it's their turn. Now what? Start cracking skulls, right? And they start getting all hard-ons about it. You know these people, they're out there. If you don't think they're out there, they're fucking out there, and you've been sheltered. Go find them. They're fucking out there. Go to a bar. They're fucking out there. Go listen long enough. Go sit down enough with someone. You find enough people. There's someone in someone's family. Go get invited to some Thanksgiving dinner. You'll meet somebody. They're out there. I've met them. There's whole fucking towns full of them. They're out there. Right? So, and they're probably watching the show, or they're eventually watching the show, and they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I am like that. And fuck you, Boyd, and fuck whoever doesn't like it. And I've seen people say that to me on shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're out there. They're fucking out there. So, whatever. If you think that's crazy, they're fucking out there. You're in your shelter. Right? So, let's see what Superfan Chris got to say about this shit. Because I'm just saying, it's fucking crazy shit out here. I mean, fuck. And look, there's this white dude, right, floating around. I don't even want to pull it up because I don't want to give this dude no shine. Because it's stupid. He was doing us this old, looked like he had a chaw on his lip, chewing his lip. Like, look here, you think you want to go defund the police? You think you can make it without those police around? Well, me and my buddies, we don't use rubber bullets, and we got a lot of different guns. So let's see what happens when you defund the police, and we start running amok. Cause we know we got more guns than you, and we don't use rubber bullets like the police do. So you chew on that. It's like some fucking TikTok redneck dude. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Right? You're like threatening, like, to go fucking, what's it? The, fucking, what's that thing? Damn, there's a movie. What's that movie? The Purge. You're gonna go the Purge on people if they defund the police. It's like, you vow to be the reason that we need the police if we defund the police. So in other words, we don't need the police if it wasn't for you, sort of, right? Like, I don't get it. Like, what the fuck kind of virtue signal bullshit is this? It makes no fucking sense. Why would they need to do this? It's just stupid. It's stupid. And they're not going to do shit. Even if they dismantled the police, what are they going to do? They're really going to go fucking roam around and go do some shit? They're really going to go stupid? Man, fuck that. Well, let's watch them, man, because there's more people with more guns than they fucking think. And they don't understand. There's a lot of people that are like me that are sort of like, fuck this shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck the Democrats are talking about. I don't know what the fuck the Republicans are talking about. I don't know why. Like, I totally support the George Floyd thing. I totally support, like, police reform, including defunding the police, including, I mean, just rip the whole fucking shit and sort of let's talk about this. You know what I mean? Because it's fucked up right now. And it's like out of control. It has no accountability. They think they're a fucking little club, that they get to do their own fucking shit and whatever. They belong to the fucking city. And yeah, I don't give a fuck who pays the taxes. It's not made so that you can fucking fuck around like that. The only reason the tax shit and the money shit and all that fucking shit works is because me and the poor ass people you say that don't have a voice, you don't really work for us because we don't pay the taxes and fuck and you can fuck off, right? The only reason all that fucking shit works is because me and my cronies don't go fucking overthrow your funky fucking monkey asses, right? That's basically it. That's sort of really what it is. Now, that's not a threat per se, but that's the fucking American people. If fucking Thomas Jefferson were here, he'd fucking tell you the same fucking shit. We pay fucking taxes, and in whole, the reason I don't pay the same amount of taxes as some other motherfucker is because of the fact that they can extract more if they have more. If without resources, you have to put yourself up for exploitation. Bottom line. What else are you going to do? What are you going to do? To go start a lawn mowing business, you got to get a lawnmower. So what do you got to do? Oh, maybe you got to go sweep the floor. Okay, well, go sweep the floor. Now you're being exploited by somebody, right? So at the end of the day, now maybe you get some money for that. Great, right? So now you can maybe keep doing that possibly if you get a chance. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what are you gonna do if you get sick? Whoever you're fucking sweeping the floor for doesn't necessarily give you health care, right? And I don't know what age you are, but let's say you have nothing. Let's say you're homeless. Now, how do you get out? You know what I mean? There's sort of the reality of the situation, the fact that time still continues, that the next day that you don't have food is another day hungry. That pain in your stomach, and that weak feeling, and that delirium, and that what you can't think right, and you don't know what to do, and shit that starts kicking in. It's like, and that, now what? And you're supposed to manage, you know what I mean? Like, we live in a society. It's not a situation where, and even then, you got to give the person a chance. And there's not necessarily these good Samaritans all over the place that show up in time, because the next day happens, regardless of if they find that solution in time or not. The kids are begging for food regardless of if they find the solution or not. So they have to go find some, and people know that. So they go and exploit these people. And that becomes, that's where the things become a problem. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go sweep some floors for money. I'm not saying that. Now, that in of itself, that's great. You're working your own labor, right? And if you can find a situation where you have a skill to where you can get paid to where it's worth your time to do that, then by all means, go do that if you have that opportunity. But what ends up happening is you get a situation where you work for a company, you work for whoever, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you go work for this person if you live on your own. And there's no guarantee that who you work for, even at a full-time basis, would end up paying you enough to live on. So then you have to go find another job if you don't have necessary skills. So in essence, if you can't find a job sweeping the floor that pays you better than working at Walmart, then basically you're working at Walmart, right? So now you're working at Walmart, but that's still not enough to pay the rent. You know what I mean? Now what? And that's where things go sort of funky monkey. So anyway, let's go see what goes on in Superfan Chris's stream here. He dumped a bunch of stuff and I missed it. So he will say some serious new training and reforms are going to start. Police departments, people in this country need to learn and know their rights. For some learning nuggets, I started reading the Constitution and found that neither the Constitution nor state law impose a general duty upon police officers or the government officials to protect individual persons exactly from harm. So if they're not protecting you from harm, are they really protecting you from harm? So what is the thing about the police that you really think that they're doing that's so important? And if it's protecting you from harm, that's not one of them, by the way. So Superfan Chris has, by the way, verified that. He goes on to say, police can watch someone attack you, refuse to intervene, and not violate the Constitution. They protect the public, but the public under the Constitution is not people. It's the public entities like business and merchants. Their duty is to protect those in their country, to protect those in their custody and take them to the sheriff. Remember, as a reference, police officers were originally slave catchers and returned slaves to their masters. In other words, they are upscale security guards. Oh no, I skipped something. Oh, you talking about canceling Paw Patrol? Yeah, they said that. And you said that you worked at SVU detectives, right? What which top comment you talking about? But yeah, and they have I don't disagree 100% agree that police have a very tough job, and there's probably realms of policedom that I don't know, sort of have their place. Like you have your traffic cops and you got certain other cops and and I guess people sort of learn that, and I don't know. I would say that there would be a major fine for harassing or otherwise bothering any type of government person, or something like that, just in case if someone was sort of charged with enforcing some rule that the population has agreed to, But I don't know. Like, how would you? Like, what are the police doing? Like, sometimes it seems like, I guess, we need them to handle a situation. And Superfan Chris said already that they don't have to do it. So, like, if we call them, they may or may not actually do anything. You know what I mean? And we sort of just expect them to. But I don't know. I know constitutionally they don't. Well, let me see here. Superfan Chris said they were joking around. He said that they. Yeah, I talked about the convo earlier where you said you were they're the SVU people. I saw some crazy stuff. It's a different breed of. There are some different breeds of cops or something. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, very good. Two female detectives. Yeah, not all cops are created equal. And yeah, you mentioned that they have the PTSD, right? So, so that's. I mean, there is a point to maybe the female cops, but that's the thing is it because why don't we have more of them? If it's because female or women just don't want to join the police force, then we can't really force that to happen. And sure, there's a lot of ego, macho stuff going on in the force, but I mean, maybe we need to have some training about that. How do you control that? How do you be a good? And here's the thing, maybe don't. Maybe it's just like it's not a situation where the citizen has to necessarily bend the knee first. Why can't the cops? Because basically we're the owners of them. Why can't? Oh, sorry, there was getting a glare on my thing, but now I feel like the camera's a little bit too crazy. Sorry. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. I don't know. You tell me. Ego-driven, macho men on the force. How do you prevent that, though? Maybe we need to confront that and ask them, what should we do? Police, what should we do? Men in this room, what should we do about ego and macho and all that kind of crap? And how do you become a public servant? And now I'll tell you what, for the most part, pretty much 100%, because I don't believe I saw anything. I don't think I saw anything that like a flashpoint situation. I saw a lot of taunting and harassing of JSO and the police. I mean, it was just protesters taunting and jeering and stuff like that. And I have to admit, they had a lot of poise. They ignored it for the most part. They just sort of stood there and took it. They didn't care. They did have some conversations with some people, and stuff like that. And there's some people who were really rude to the cops. And I'm not a police fan. That sounds like I'm a police fan. And I just saying, I'm real. Like, there are some cops that obviously they're serving a service. These cops are doing a good job. They know about some rules about how shit's supposed to happen in the traffic stuff. They know how they sort of have things quarantined or cordoned off, so it's not too crazy. I don't know. In a way, it makes you feel like hopeless as a protester, but in a way, you sort of like it because at least we're not going to get, if we go along with what's sort of going on, and the police are happy with us just sort of following their directions, even though everyone's taunting and jeering at them and saying rude things, and no one really threw anything or did anything violent, but but they're doing those things, and it's like you could say bad shit and be rude and do whatever you want to one of those British people, the guys with the soldiers with the black hats or whatever. Um, it was sort of like that, and I feel like they did a good job. So JSO, good job, even though overall you still got shit to work on. And it part of that is the macho driven shit that Chris is talking about. It's like the bravado and stuff, and I think some of that's been set up because how many times have we seen cops that are like, they play basketball with people and it goes viral, right? We see kids that like cops and it goes viral, but then it's like on the force when in real life it's all of a sudden everyone is like having to make up for something in their life. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. And part of it too is that macho and bravado happens, right? And that's what the problem is it's allowed to happen. The ego driven macho man on the force is allowed to happen, right? Because that's just part of what we need. Because at the end of the day, what are they for? They're not here for us. They're here to crack skulls and make sure that the people in their custody are protected. Now, there are times when we call upon them and we expect them to help us. And that's case by case, and whether they respond or not, it's up to them at the end of the day, because sometimes they don't respond in time, and sometimes they do. Um, but anyway, I digress. I don't remember where I was going. So what do you guys think? Um, Send it out. What do you guys think? Looks like. Well, I mean, we've been going on about an hour. I mean, not quite. No, not yet. We still got some time. Send it out to some folks. I know you guys got some Blue Lives Matter people. I know you've got some Black Lives Matter people. There's somebody out there that has some shit that they've been saying on Facebook and blah blah, and it's like, oh, talk to this guy and tell him, and because I'm like, I know I feel like there's definitely too much money going into police. I feel like there's part of the reason that there is so much animosity is because they do too much. They're in our face and in our business too much. They need to step off the war on drugs crap. Done. If the war on drugs was gone, police would be cool. I think that's part of it. Like we just never talk about whenever police are cool in some context, it's because we are not talking about drugs. Unless it's one of those like situations where it's sort of like the cool cop that's buying the drugs. Exception to the rule, whatever. But it doesn't mean that the cop, excuse me, pardon me. No, I don't have COVID. It's the bubbles in this thing. Excuse me. I don't even remember what I was saying, but yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Canceling Paw Patrol. I don't really know exactly what that was all about. If it is, I think it's Paw Patrol. There's some police show, the kids show, that's getting canceled. I'm pretty sure it's Paw Patrol. Um, in the cancel culture that's coming along like that, I don't know. Like, there's no reason. I don't think that we need to like. I wouldn't call for the cancellation of Paw Patrol. I'm not a fan of police as it is, right? As it stands, because they're not really working for us. They're working for, at least they're acting more like constitutional wards, as excuse me, as Superfan Chris has mentioned, instead of municipally bound to inhabitants of the municipality that supports them. You know what I mean? I think that if there isn't already some kind of municipal clause of some sort that binds the police to some kind of obligation to the people within the city, or at least the municipality that funds them or comprises the tax base of which that organization is funded and or has jurisdiction over, right? So if they have jurisdiction, it doesn't matter who's funding them. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to work, but I guess it just has to work that way. We're going to have to figure that out. I have a solution, but it's a whole other show, right? And it's a whole other economy. It's way too crazy right now. It would require almost a revolution. It doesn't have to happen like a revolution, but in order for it to happen, the cops would be like shooting people to stop the movement because they are not right. They're not constitutionally charged with actually catching the slaves. We are wage slaves. You know, you can break away from the wage game, right? And salary. I'm including salary in this salary game, but it is, you know, a little topsy turvy. So you give up one a little bit, and you know, but can't you say the same for a slave, right? Living out in the open, on your own chunk of land, whether your vegetables grow, whether you catch rabbits, or I don't know how you got money and what you're buying and how you're staying alive. Next day's coming and you're still hungry, right? I don't know. Well, you're getting fed as a slave, right? You get clothes. You got you know, there's people that say I'll go to prison because at least I'm getting fed. I got shelter. I got a neighbor told me that there should be work camps, like basically work, like you should be going to work in prison. Like that should be your thing, and because you should be paying off your room and board and all of that 3 square meals a day. That's too much to be just living off of. I mean, how many people would want that? Because living out in the open world in the economy is worse than prison, apparently, right? It's almost like my neighbor was jealous about the conditions that the prisoners are living in. I'm like, this is crazy, right? To me, it's crazy. I don't know. Prison should be a rehabilitation situation. And the thing is, how many people are wrongfully convicted? Because there's a pardon me. There's an incentive to keep people in prison. There's an incentive for cops to be assholes, to get people arrested so they go to prison so that they work in these camps, you know, so that they create labor, which is happening, you know, because slavery is legal in the jurisdiction of prisons under their purview, right? As long as you're a prisoner, you're okay being a slave. And so slavery's still alive in our country. So of course the cops are, you know, they're the funnel for that. You know, that's like the vacuum to feed the slave machine. You know, in a way. I mean, I shouldn't be talking about it so you know, I guess so. What's the word I'm even looking for? I don't know, but you know, like not so seriously, but it's a serious thing that's happened. We have the most prisoners on the planet. We have more prisoners even per capita. You know, not just by a number because we have a large population. No, there's other populations that are larger than us that have smaller prison populations, especially per capita prison populations. But overall, I am pretty sure, like 80% sure, that even overall, even not even per capita, like India has less prisoners than we do. Like we have a quarter of the prisoners. Like it's crazy. You know, so these people are working in a lot of prisons. They're working, they're doing something like that by force. You know, and so that's slavery at the end of the day. But some people would say, like my neighbor would say, well, yeah, but they're getting, you know, 3 square meals and their shelter, and if they get sick, they get taken care of. I'm like, well, yeah, you gotta get your return on investment. You know what I mean? Right? That's basically what is happening. I mean, the slave owner has to worry about the same thing, right? I mean, so he's advocating slavery in the modern day. That's basically what my neighbor, I don't think he is thinking that, but yeah, that's basically what is going on, right? And people don't necessarily need to commit a crazy crime to go to prison. You just have to be poor enough that you can't fight the conviction, right? Or you can't fight the law, right? Or don't even get, you know, that you can't make bail and you end up in Rikers for 2 years, right? Like, geez, I can't remember his name. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry. But I remember the situation. You know what I mean? Some kid gets accused of some shit, doesn't even get a trial for 2 years, he kills himself. You know what I mean? That's our country. That's the freedom of our country. You know what I mean? Yes, there are some cops that do a good job, and I think there's a really good role for civic officers, right? Police, sure, civic officers that know the rules of the land, of the municipality, of the city, of whatever, like what's in the ordinance, da-da-da. If whatever's fine, if you need to, whatever. I mean, mainly, I don't even think you need to know all that. Just know some basic, know what you should or shouldn't be doing, you know what I mean? Especially if we didn't have to deal with drugs, I think for the most part, everything would be fine. I think a lot of stuff would be fine if we didn't have to deal with drugs. Just stop fucking with war on drugs. Nobody's having to look over their shoulder about some cops. Or am I clean or not clean? Oh, God, I don't know. They're going to see the joint. Or the coke or da-da-da. I'm not saying everyone go have a, snow fight and get some coke or whatever. I've never even done it. Wouldn't even want it. Nah, I'm like the same with heroin. I'm not going to go raise my hand. What's the point? I mean, I don't need to have a law to tell me not to do it. I also don't need police to get all weird about stuff or be out on the hunt. I know a guy that does do it, and I don't want him to get like his house raided and his dog shot and stuff like that. And he's sort of dark brownish color. I mean, I don't know how they're going to view him. You know what I mean? If someone has some kind of predilection, if their family didn't change their hearts and minds when segregation changed, or maybe they don't like certain people, or maybe they got PTSD type symptom stuff or something. I don't know. And next thing you know, bam, because of war on drugs, saving lives because of war on drugs, right? Like, that's a reality. Of course, I'm not trying to create it into existence, knock on wood, right? But I'm just saying somebody and somehow, somewhere, I mean, it's happened already. And Breonna Taylor just died recently. There's no knock raid, stupid shenanigans of drugs for drugs. Right? How stupid. It's so stupid. So stupid. I don't get it. It's so dumb. Like, we play this game and it's so fun for them. And they get to do it and they get lots of money and gadgets. And we get the surveillance state, and we justify because drugs, what the fuck, these stupid drugs. If someone's getting some coke or whatever, someone might make an album. Wow. Or they do some stupid shit, take them to intervention. I mean, come on. Like, if they're out of control, handle them. But for the most part, people are either staying away from the shit or they're handling their shit. You know what I mean? If I want to smoke a joint, I should be able to smoke a joint if I can handle my shit. If I'm calling the cops, telling people, 911, hey, send a paramedic, I'm dying. Like the police that did, excuse me, my chairman. There's some police, I don't remember what state they were in. They were high as far as mental state, but I don't remember what actual state in the union they were in. Probably Utah. I believe it was Utah. And maybe you guys know about this case, right? And these cops call in to 911. They think they're dying, right? Oh, I'm dying. I can't breathe. Time has stopped. Oh my God. And they're freaking out. They ate brownies that they confiscated. Fucking war on drugs. Fucking cops. Eat the brownies. Haha, funny. No, there's some fucking shit. Some kid got his shit stolen. Some brownies stolen by the state. And then some fucking state agents ate his brownies and got high and called other state agents on your tax dollars and fucking confessed of being, or at least were concerned of dying because they couldn't handle their shit. That doesn't mean everyone else doesn't handle their shit. That's just wrong people don't know how to handle their shit. Fucking cops. Why? Because they don't know. They're not allowed to just sit down and have someone help them handle their shit. If it was legal, hey, come and hang out. Yeah. You want some brownies? Don't eat that much. You don't know. You don't know this recipe I use. You don't know how they made these brownies. You don't know what the content was. I mean, these people don't know anything about dosing edibles. You know what I mean? These cops. They're just big, flopping around. Oh, I know this stuff. I confiscated weed all day. Eat brownies. calling in saying they're dying. There was a time, I have to admit, there was a time when I first smoked back just out of high school. First time I smoked, I freaked out. I ran to my hotel room. I think I was going to my friend's wedding. I freaked out. I didn't want anyone to see me because I thought I would get in trouble or something. Some huge deal was going to happen. And I don't know, I was just afraid of the whole world. And I was paranoid. Some weed shit, right? I didn't know how to handle my shit. And my friends were letting me smoke too much because I told them that I knew how to smoke or whatever. At least I did once, and I had to go along with that. So now I'm going along with it. I got fucking stoned out of I didn't know how to handle it, right? And I don't think I had smoked it before. I didn't know how to handle it, and so I freaked out. And I did it again once or twice, trying to bravado, stupid shit. And then one time I was like sitting with some friends in my house, in a comfortable place, right? And they had already been smoking. I wasn't smoking, and I knew I was working in a job that I would get drug tested. Actually, I was working in the National Guard. I was back then, and so I had to stay clean. So it wasn't a big deal. And eventually, I left the National Guard, and then I was like, well, there's no reason. I took up a little bit, and in a safe space was able to handle my shit. And now I could handle my shit. It's like some people don't know how to get drunk. It's like the teenage drunks that get all stupid drunk, like don't know how to handle their shit, right? And when you handle your shit, you learn how to take a little nightcap. You know how to do it. You know how to have morning champagne and not overdo it, right? You can have a mimosa on a Sunday and not be a fucking drunk. Now, Lacey over there had one too many because she's making a scene, right? You don't need to do that. There's a couple people that are going to do that. Okay. Right? But we can't start defining the whole, there's going to be some crackheads out there. Yeah. Tell them to don't do crack. Let's educate people about, hey, don't do crack. There's this crack thing out there that you could do. It's legal. Don't do it. It's like poison. Don't do it. Just don't do this poison. Like, why would you take poison? Don't do it. Right? It's easy enough. I'm not going to go inject myself with ricin just because I can. I don't think there's a law that says I can't. Maybe there is. It would be stupid if there is, right? But I don't know. I don't get it. And it's not human nature. I just think there's a couple stupid people that do stupid shit, and they get on the news, and it's like we try to define humanity by them. It's like, no, most people are fucking sensible enough not to do stupid shit, right? Or get all bent out of shape enough to fucking cancel Paw Patrol. I don't even know about Paw Patrol. The only reason I know about Paw Patrol is because there's a neighbor guy that walks his granddaughter in a stroller, and she has Paw Patrol shoes, and she loved my dog, and she always calls for my dog, and so I let my dog out to go see the dog, the daughter or the granddaughter, and they always want to talk about Paw Patrol, and I don't know anything about Paw Patrol, right? I just know it's police, and they're probably dogs, and they do stuff, and they probably have an insignia that has to do with a paw. And I probably summed it up, and they do nice things, and they tell kids how to share and be nice, and all the shit that you're supposed to forget when you become an adult, apparently, in our society, in our civilized fucking society. That is basically all the shit that you would teach a kid is what you throw out the window and gets you to be CEO, right? You get to be Gordon Gekko, right? Or you get to be Epstein, right? You get to, what do you mean get to be? Do you have a fucking private island with private jets? Because I don't fucking have a private island with private island? I want a private island. Do you want a private island? I think it would be great to have a private island. Not for that shenanigans, but just because, where would it even be? What part of the world would a private island even be? I don't even know. There's so much of the world that I haven't seen. And I would love to have like a Galapagos island. Think about the ecology on the island. I would nerd out on that shit, right? Some people would make a farm. Some people would do, I don't fucking know what they would do, but they would love to have a private island. How come he got to have a fucking private island? Because he was doing bad shit. They won't show what he did on Paw Patrol. You see what I mean? How do we have a society where he gets to go on fucking private islands and Paw Patrol doesn't have private islands and they're the nice people? I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe someone can tell me. 4 people in the billions of the world. You guys are sharing this or something. All right, 4 people are on tonight. What do you guys think? Should we defund the police? Are they even doing anything? We talked about how the police really have no reason or rhyme to help you. They don't have to help you. No constitutional duty. They may have a municipal duty. Maybe. I don't know. Probably depends on your municipality. But under the Constitution, there is no, supposedly, I've heard this before as well, but Superfan Chris also summed it up, that there is no specific requirement or what we could say, obligation to help you. Right? They can actually watch shit go down, and they have no obligation. And they, at the end of the day, they listen to somebody too. I don't know. We got a crazy system. You guys tell me what you think, but we need to do something. Something needs to be done because it is some crazy shit going on in this world. Now, maybe I know he got rich, though, doing his other financial shit. But even then, the financial shenanigans, he was part of a Ponzi scheme. And I mean, this is that kind of shit. The rentier class, the financier class. I mean, these are people who are just extracting from, production, really productive forces. These are people that are taking your rent, that are taking fees for handling your money, or taking, even just messing, throwing, even playing around on the market. Like, on one hand, the market's used by people for commodities or even for their own stock or whatever. Even that gets, I don't even think that companies should really be jumping into the market with their own stocks as far as trading their own stocks. Now, they could buy some back and whatever, but even then, I don't even believe in the corporate structure. They should all be transitioned to their workers at the end of the day, period. And the workers, if they want to buy the shares, they can buy them back in, and the workers will benefit from that. If the workers want to keep the shares out there, they can do that. And the shareholders will benefit from that. I'm sure they will get a dividend of some sort or something. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about that. All right, so Superfan Chris says, how do you feel about executive order that Trump signed in regards to reform on police departments? What did he sign specifically? Was it a recent reform bill? I don't know. Whatever it is, it probably isn't going to be enough of any real tangible thing that's really going to help. Like, what's really going to happen? If you lifted the war on drugs, I think, did that, if that's not in the bill, then I don't really think it's worth anything. What's going to happen? Training? Sprinkle more money on the police? They're just going to check boxes and we're going to lose money. And some consultant's going to grease their palm. No. If that's what's in it, I don't know. I just don't have faith. I just had based on his past performance. That's all. But past performance is not an indicator of future returns. So we shall see. We shall see. But I don't agree with pretty much any of what the so-called leadership we have in Washington. I'll tell you right now. There is no real leadership. No one is bearing the banner to say, this is what we need to do, folks. Okay, look, we need a jobs program. Who wants a government job? All right, if you don't want a government job, here's this much of some temporary money. Bam. I mean, think about this. There's like 300 million-ish men, women, and children. Even if we just talked about households. How many households? 200 million? I don't know. 200 million. If we could have $10,000 a piece, that would be like $2 billion. Excuse me. How crazy is that? That would be $2 billion. Like, what if it was 20? But we could have 100,000. That doesn't sound right. Maybe 100,000 each, I think. And we could only spend $2 billion per household, and we'd spend like $2 billion because we have 200 million. I think. I mean, it would be 20 billion. Excuse me, $20 billion. Pretty sure we have like, I don't know. Think rounding about. I don't know how many households we have. Probably 200 million. That's what I'm saying. Think about that. We gave away trillions, pissed it away to the corporations to do whatever the fuck they want, to trickle it down, let it rain on us, daddy. It's not gonna fucking come down on us. They offshore that shit. They bought. I was talking to one of my buddies from finance. He's like, I felt like he's about to school me on some shit because I've been out of the finance world for a while. Doesn't mean I don't pay attention. Doesn't mean I don't follow along and watch some pretty sophisticated shit. Because there's a lot of stuff online, especially if you go through Zero Hedge, read some of those articles. Some of these people are picking up on some pretty crazy cues, and especially technical indicators and other stuff too. A lot of investigative journalism showing up on there. Whoever Tyler Durden is through that or that channel called Tyler Durden, some good investigative journalism. It would be great. Wouldn't it be great? What if, I don't know, it sounds like a pretty interesting thing if you were to be an investigative journalist, huh? Well, like, what would that entail? Like, you would go find out about some shit? I don't know. It'd be too scary for me. I don't know how to go, like, find out about some people. I get caught. I'm not fucking sly enough about shit. I don't know how to be smart like that, to be sly. Like, if I'm accused of being smart, it's because I figured some shit out. Like, something was broken, I fixed it. Someone else already made it. Actually, no. If I was accused of being smart, sometimes because I made something from scratch or something. So, whatever. But it's not because, like, oh, James was crafty. He swindled 500 people out of 2 million. No, I'm not good. I don't know how to swindle them. If you told me later, like, I could understand the mechanism, but I'm not good at that. Someone said, make a watch. I'm like, man, I don't know about gearing, and I don't have the will, skill, and time to learn about it, and I don't want to do that. That sounds too tedious, and my eyes are bad, and I shake too much with my hands. It's not my thing. I would not do that. I just wouldn't do it, right? So anyway, everybody's got sort of their thing. And sometimes some people are good cops, and sometimes some people are bad cops. And the problem, too, is this little gang feeling that they have, that they support each other. And, if someone says, hey, you know what, you were too much bravado, you were too much ego, or you, female cop, you kicked this person in the face. Dave Chappelle talked about a dude that tried to report a female cop, and the female told the supervisor ended up basically firing the dude, and it went through a whole process. He couldn't ever get hired again. Because he reported that the female was beating this man in handcuffs, right? And he felt it was necessary to report that this woman, or this police officer, it didn't matter necessarily it was a woman, but it was interesting that he brought up that we need more women on the force, and then the woman is beating up this person with their handcuffs. So bravado, machismo, PTSD, who knows? Some of these things can creep up in anybody, so we got to be looking both ways at that. But, yes, probably to your point, though, there's less bravado and machismo, whatever. But there's also other things. Who knows? Everybody's got different personalities. But anyway, yeah, that was crazy. That oh, yeah. So Chappelle. Yeah, I saw Chappelle's show. Not Chappelle's show, excuse me. But that was a very, very transformative thing. Saw the 8-minute, 24 seconds? 8:24? 26 seconds. Oh, man, I feel bad for not even remembering the numbers. I'm telling you, I've got terrible memory for that kind of stuff. Concepts, I remember concepts, how things work. Usually I'll remember all that stuff. But, like, names, numbers, oh, God. It's like holding sand. Like, yeah, you got holding it pretty good, but then I don't know how it gets away, but it just ends up getting away. But sometimes I get some sand in my hand and it stays, so sometimes I can remember some things. But it's like that for most people, I'm sure. I wish I had a memory that was like photographic, like some people can just remember shit forever, Maybe that's a curse. Maybe I think it would be a blessing more than a curse, but I don't even know. Tell me what you think. What do you guys think? what is the deal on the real? What is the deal with what's going on out in the world? I think we're in for depression coming up. A few months, end of the year, next year for 100%, but possibly as soon as a few months from now. There's going to be a beginning of a depression. Got too many people unemployed. People don't have money. People are already rioting in the streets, and they're blaming it on not blaming it, but they're tying it to um, to Black Lives Matter or George Floyd thing. Da, da, da. But there's already a class struggle going on. There's already a reason to be looting, right? Why? Not just because you want it, but because you need some stuff. You need money anyway. Even if you looted the Chanel or whatever, yeah, or Gucci, whatever. What are you gonna do? You're probably gonna flip the bag. You're probably gonna, you're not gonna walk around with some whole bunch of money worth of value hanging right there when you need money to survive. You know what I mean? So in a way, that's conquering, right? I mean, there's all these people that talk about, oh, the Europeans came and conquered the savages. The Anglo uh, Judeo-Christian, um, whatever lineage, those people, they came and conquered, as so many people have done in history. Right? This idea, oh man, crazy idea. I don't know. What do you guys think? Look, we've got next week. What do you guys want to talk about? Give me a comment. This one came out of out of crazy. I've been thinking about maybe doing this one, but I wasn't sure, so I just last minute put it together. What do you guys think for what's been on your mind? What is crazy? Joseph Stolio, defund the police. That equal democratic states will go broke. Well, it maybe. I don't know necessarily. Do you mean democratic as in the Democratic Party? If you defund the police, they'll have a lot of money if they defund the police, though. So I don't know. Are you saying that that there will be riots and people will start shooting each other and stealing from each other? Hopefully capitalism will help us, or has capitalism failed already? I don't know. That would be interesting, Joseph. Please, if you could put it in the comments. That's a great question, though. Defund, or statement, I guess. Defund the police. Democratic states will go broke. I don't really know what that means. If you stop paying something. Or does that mean that there will be something that causes the money to be spent? I don't know. I don't even know if he's still watching. He probably just jumped on to say that. I don't know. I think that's some virtue signaling, because I don't really know what he's getting at, and he's probably gonna pull some numbers or whatever. Not even numbers. He's just gonna say, well, the blacks are gonna go shoot up everything, and they're gonna go broke. And watch, Joseph. Am I right or wrong? Come on. If that's what you're saying, because I ran into I carry the trauma. I've got some form of, I don't want to conflate it with PTSD, but I bring with me the trauma of my online discourse, of my craziness. So even though I have this cloak of speaking, I am trying to have a real good conversation here, but at the same time, I can't help but pull out the venom if we have people that are sort of acting in bad faith. That's what it is. Acting in bad faith, or you really haven't thought about what you're saying, you just want a virtue signal. I don't like virtue signaling. Sometimes I do it, though, because it needs to go back. Sometimes you need some equal and opposite virtue signaling to sort of combat the propaganda that's flying around. Because that's what virtue signaling is, really, at the end of the day, is creating your own, propaganda to waft around that you believe one thing or another, or da-da-da. Which is fine, sure. I mean, wear your patriotic hat because you believe in that. Wearing that means some special stuff. Go ahead. right? But if you don't uphold the First Amendment, or if you don't care if someone's First Amendment right to the free press and the free speech, and remember that the First Amendment includes the right to the free press, right? That they practically act as a fourth branch. You know what I mean? Because they're the bullhorn to the people. They're supposed to be. Now, of course, they're hijacked by corporate means, but let's see. Oh yeah, so Joseph Stolen brings up a good point here. Property value. So perhaps the venom was unfounded, but it's probably true a little bit in a couple different ways. Property value will go down. Centrists will run to the blue states. Yeah, that may be true. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Maybe. Centrists will run to the blue states. Aren't those the Democratic states already? The blue states? Maybe he means red states. Maybe they will. I don't know. You're telling me that the Trump era is making the centrist feel more comfortable there? I don't know. They're saying defund the police. It's not necessarily just like to hand in your guns. We don't have police. Okay, have at it. It's like that's not happening. If they don't get MRAPs anymore, or they have to auction them off, I don't even know who they would auction them to. Maybe they get turned into some kind of I don't know, government vehicle for public use for something. Let's have a contest to come up with reasons why we should use an MRAP to do something. I'm sure it could pull a fucking plow or something. We can have a municipal garden, right? Pulled by MRAPs. A pulled plow by MRAPs, right? They don't need that shit, right? They don't need to. They don't need extra shit to fight the war on drugs, right? So if we got rid of the fucking war on drugs, then it wouldn't really be an issue. If we focused on defunding, because that shit's expensive. The tech is expensive. The police themselves are expensive. The number we have of police are expensive, right? We could take that money and move it to. We could take that money and move it over to education, to tell people don't use drugs, right? Watch out, this is going on, right? Everyone agrees, right, that you shouldn't use crack, that you shouldn't use heroin, they should be careful about opioids. That maybe at some point in time, I don't know, let's talk about how early you introduce it, but at some point in time, we could talk about this as children and make sure that everybody understands as they enter into meeting with strangers out in the world that might approach them with crack and say, hey, you want some crack? And they're like, I don't know anything about crack, I might as well take it. If we had that going on, we wouldn't need a war on drugs, because there wouldn't be a market for it, or the market would seek itself. You know what I mean? I believe in markets. So if there's going to be a market, it can go out there, right? If someone starts berserking or ruining their life, then we should have some intervention going on. But if we need an MRAP to battle a drug kingpin, it's like there wouldn't even be a drug kingpin if the drugs were legal. You know what I mean? It wouldn't even happen. All right. So anyway. Let's see. Joseph, thank you, by the way. Thank you for interacting and throwing on some commentary. Very good. Real good. My bad, Red. Okay, yes. Aren't those vehicles leftovers from Iraq War? Sure. A lot of them come from military. Basically, they surplus vehicles, and they get acquired by our police to protect us from, what do I have that requires an MRAP? I'm not allowed to have something that can destroy an MRAP. You know what I mean? Oh, well, you might. Oh, well. So, yeah, but when that happens, you have enough force. There's still asymmetry of force. There's no way that there's enough people that the state needs an MRAP. And if there is that many people that need to come towards the state to do something, then there's a problem. There's a fucking problem already. You know what I mean? They're already basically gearing up for class war. They're gearing up. They're basically acting as if they are an occupying force. You know what I mean? In our own cities. Yay. So, what do you think? Yeah, so centrists might leave. to go to red states. I don't know. I think Trump's rhetoric and chaos and lack of leadership is enough to sort of make them say, okay, what are you talking about then? Maybe not. What is going on? Oh my God, making all this noise. But yeah, I don't know, Joseph. What do you think? Yeah, they are from the Iraq War. They're from a very. They could come from anywhere. You know, really, it doesn't matter. It's just surplus. So Iraq War was a long time ago. There's still some that are not, a lot newer than that, I'm sure, that are showing up on police forces. Who knows? And plus, we're at war across the globe already. We have operations in Africa. We've got Middle East going on. We're gearing up for war. We still got all the NATO stuff we got going on over there. We have Pacific forces, people deployed all over the place. You know what I mean? So, and doesn't mean we're at war in all those places, but we're ready to be at war in any place. And we waste a lot of resources just playing around, making sure that we're ready and showing that we're ready, or just acting like we're ready, right? And I don't know that we even have to do all that, but we do. And now we have the biggest military. Does that necessarily mean anything? The biggest bully on the block. Does that mean they're the best? Does that mean they're righteous? You know what I mean? I don't know. I think America has a reckoning coming. We need to know, what the hell kind of nation are we supposed to be? What is utopia of America? What is utopia? What does that even look like? There's so much virtue signaling, you can't even have the conversation. Someone's going to describe some Ayn Rand fantasy, or someone might describe a Marxian fantasy. Right, there's going to be a transition somehow. Maybe there could be. I think of all the fantasies, the Marxian fantasy would be at least overall better, that everyone would be able to do whatever they wanted. You know, I guess you just wouldn't get to have private islands so much. Not quite, I mean, but then any island would be in commons, so you could just go to those islands and enjoy those islands. Unless you want a private island to have pedophile like rings or something, in that case, yeah, I guess we need to make sure that those things don't happen. But I mean, that's what happens when you get private property and you allow them, people get to mass islands and have that stuff. I don't know. Joseph Stolen says, you sound very nihilistic. But I'm not. I'm full of hope, actually. It's a hope that would probably get me shot. That's why I'm very, that's nihilistic. That is nihilistic. But it's also realistic. That's the thing. I'm a realist. I constantly use the phrase material reality, because material reality is what we live in. Again, that's why I say your child is hungry tonight. They're hungrier tomorrow. Right? If your rent isn't paid today, it's not paid tomorrow if you don't have money, right? So you got to figure it out. And during that time, if the government's dragging their feet for a solution, during that time, if you can't find a job at all because there's 300 people per application, and that means you have a 300th chance of getting something. You don't even have a 1% chance. You have a third of a 1% chance of getting an interview, of even being that person that gets the job. Like, why would you waste your time on a third of a 1% chance of any fucking thing ever, right? Or even if there was 100 I mean, how many, all practically, of any decent job in America right now probably has 100 applications that would gladly apply for it, but they already either know that they would get, screened out, or they, anyone would gladly accept a role to the level of their, not gladly, but they may be forced to, but would take on the role that is potentially beyond their comprehension, or beyond, basically the Peter principle, that you get what do you call it? Promoted to your incompetence. People would take that on. Yeah, sure. If I'm getting paid, hell yeah. If I'm getting paid, making a living. People aren't doing what they intrinsically want to do, right? So that's why I say I'm not nihilistic. There's a path. To me, it's so clear. To me, I see a roadway that's clear, that I can tell you that I know exactly what we need to do, that will change the world, change the paradigm. It might take 10 years, but we need to do it now. We need to already have done it. And that's basically just end wage slavery through legislative and tax scheduling. Or we can do it after the full collapse. So I don't know. You tell me. But I mean, I got ideas for incentives to change corporations over to worker self-directed enterprises. I've been poo-pooed by left-wing people that don't understand. I don't think they understand what I'm saying. They don't understand the capitalist motivation. And they don't understand how you could actually pull this off as legislation and create a paradigm shift of basically a market socialism shift, right? Which creates equity across any worker, pretty much. I mean, there's probably some mom and pop shops that wouldn't apply. If you go sweep floors for a living and you're getting paid for your singular work as a sole person, hey, whatever. You made that money. What, do your thing. But once you start employing other people, that becomes sort of that word employing. It should be renting. Once you start rental of other people, you should start a sort of a clock of what are they helping you do? Because what if you rented them for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years? I don't know. What did your business do in 1 year, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Right? And why did you rent them? You must have needed them and you profited off of them, right? This idea that you rent human beings, that's passe. The idea that you own human beings, that's passe. The idea that you rent human beings should be passe. The idea that you partner up with human beings, that should be the norm. If we did that, paradigm shift, boom, change the world, bam. No nihilism. That's huge. That's hope. That's future, right? But am I nihilistic that anyone's going to even see that or realize that the possibility is there? What if we did something like, I don't know, you pledge 85% of your corporation to the workers, 15% tax-free. Capital gains, you want to sell it, tax-free. You want to keep it, you want to get a dividend off of your work, those old workers of yours, 15%, your parasitic load, take it, tax-free. You want to sell it off in shares and all those people get tax-free income, go ahead. You want to create a whole market of this tax-free shit? Yeah, go fucking do it. You want to go take that money and go create more of these worker self-directed enterprises that you're going to go pledge off to your workers? Fuck yeah, do it. And you're going to make tax-free money off of that? Yeah. And you mean people can still be rich and still make a lot of money and all of that and tax-free and the government's not even taking your money? Fuck yeah. America. Fuck yeah, we could do that. Right? And you could tax the co-op, the worker self-directed enterprise. And if they fucking fail, it's their own fucking fault. Let them fail. You're going to start your own other cooperative anyway, so fuck off. And you could probably keep a fucking picture that heralds your creation of the enterprise in the first place. The idea, I think, one of the paradigm shifts that we need to make is the idea that creating businesses, the idea that you can, just being able to manipulate capital and connect the dots and create and organize and make the machine happen. To make that happen, guess what? That's a skill set. That's like being a carpenter. That's like that could get hired. You could be hired to do that. That's no different. There's no reason that you get in perpetuity, that you should get into perpetuity, special word, right? Perpetually, forever. In perpetuity, the sole profit based on the rental rate of human beings at that time, forever, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense. Does that make sense to you? I mean, whoever's listening out there and the 3 people live with us right now out of the billions on this planet, and whoever's tuning in someday in the archives. By the way, if you know anyone that likes to edit, maybe they don't like to talk, maybe they don't have special things they like to say, but they like doing editing for people seeking the truth. And really, it's not me being the expert. We're talking about some shit. Let's talk, right? If they believe in that idea, and maybe I said some shit that tickles their fancy and they're good at making these clips, please, by all means, do it. Because the number one critique I have is no one wants to fucking sit down for some nobody and listen for an hour and a half and what the fuck they're doing. But they would take take on some clips. If you guys are down, someone help me. I can't do it. I don't know. It's like Johnny Depp. He doesn't watch his own films. And that's not why I'm not doing it. It's just like, God, you know what? It's hard. It's sort of hard to sit here and talk about shit. To do a good job, I think. To really think about it. And not give half-ass stupid answers that don't fucking mean anything. This is a real quest to figure out what the fuck is happening right now in this earth of this world. We are bombarded all the time with propaganda. We're swimming in a sea of propaganda. I feel like for some reason, I feel like I see the shore. I'm trying to pull people with me to the shore. Let's figure this shit out together, all of us together. All right, let's go. What is Joseph Stolen? Thank you again for being so active in our chat. Please, indeed, send this out. Let's talk. Get some folks involved. Actually, probably going to be closing up here pretty soon. So let's talk about some stuff. All right, so Joseph Stolen says rent needs huge investments first. They deserve the money. Sure. I don't believe in... Oh, God. This is going to ruffle some feathers. A lot of feathers are going to get ruffled. Get ready. Trigger warning for the ruffling of feathers. And I had to change my voice because people that would probably get ruffled would respond to only to such a voice. I don't believe in investment real estate. Think about this idea. It's like playing Monopoly. And when did you get to start playing Monopoly? And by the way, who bought the Monopoly board? And how did that all work? Think about this. Go as far back as you want. And you don't even have to go that far. A couple hundred years. In some cases, a couple hundred years. Not even that, in some cases. There's still land owned now that was taken by people that were living on it first. By point of gun and or some edict that was enforced by point of gun. Now, suddenly, people that were living in a certain area or that was uninhabited, that was used as common, and now is in the hands of someone else by right of some sort that was by force, by end of a gun. And if it wasn't by that, it was by a stroke of a pen that was enforced by a gun, right? And so, by that end, it is not a situation where this game can be played. There's a finite resource that people are just staking their claim, and by some system, we're just upholding that idea. So yeah, I don't believe in investment real estate. I believe I absolutely believe that you should have whatever real estate that you want to live on. If you want a 500-acre farm to live on, okay, find your plot of 500 acres and go live on it. But don't own a 500 acres out somewhere and use it. Now, some people might try to use the loophole and say, well, I'm going to have businesses or run this thing in my acreage or whatever. I mean, we could talk about that kind of thing. Maybe there's a de minimis rule where, yeah, you could do those kinds of things, but you start getting a little too big if you got 500 acres. All right, well, why? What's the purpose of this? If it's for conservation, sure. If it's for use as commons and you just want to have ownership to ensure that, fine, because maybe people vote to not use it as commons anymore and use it as some fucking, I don't know, municipal fucking dirt trap. I don't even know what that is. You know what I mean? This is what I would propose. If I were president, do you guys remember The Far Side? If I were president, so I would impose something like a 50% real estate investment tax. Not on your place of residence. And like I said, you can have a lavish residence. I don't care about how lavish your residence is. I'm concerned with the accumulation of said properties, right? The acquisition in the first place of said properties to set up this game that we're just sort of upholding. So to wipe that clean a little bit, let's just not play that game anymore. You can live on where you want to live. And if you want to have investment stuff, then fine, 50%. You split it with the rest of us because you're basically using our land, the rest of people. 50% tax. And what would that 50% tax do? That 50% tax would be used to fund the land grant lottery. The land grant lottery is Bureau of Land Management land and or acquired land or land sold to the government because of the imposition of 50% tax on investment properties, and or things that end up just getting sold to the government or bought by the government. Not necessarily by force. I don't believe in that, but I would contend that there's ways to incentivize people within the public sphere, especially during a mortgage crisis that's about to happen, that people could just sell these things to the government, and now it's all part of Bureau of Land Management type stuff. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it, right? And I would say that you would be able to get land grant lottery. You put your name in the lottery, and you would be granted land to subsistence live on if you wanted to, right? And to do this, you would even get stuff like solar panels, hydroponics kit. You'd also have acreage, maybe 10 acres. You could work land. You could have livestock if you want livestock. I don't know about funding livestock, but whatever. Maybe you don't get that from the state, but you can go buy it at the farmer's market and have it. I don't care, right? But I think that there's some level of moral issue of perpetuating animal usage, but I don't want to go down that route. Okay, we're gonna regret it someday. We're gonna look back and say, man, how did we? Once we realize like animals are conscious, like we realize consciousness, or maybe we tune into the one consciousness and we start realizing what animals were going through, we could sense it or some stupid shit. Then we're like, oh my God, I can't believe we're so stupid. Yeah, we're already there. That doesn't mean I don't like steak and I eat it, and I just ate chicken wings today. I don't give a shit. I'm saying, my brain is saying one thing, my stomach's saying another. I'm living in a weird world. We're all living in a fucking weird world. Okay, you get all this shit. James, there's so much free shit. Why the fuck? Well, you have all these loafers just living off the land. Just what the fuck? And what are they going to contribute? Okay, well, 2 weekends a month. Wait. 1 weekend a month. 2 weeks a year. Just whatever the National Guard does. That seems to be reasonable, right? You go do government shit. What is that? I don't fucking know. What do you want to do? You want to be military? You want to do shit? I would say that the people on land grant lottery are self-defense only. Become part of a defense force, and you can be in it all the way up to where you decide you can't be in it anymore. And if that's what you wanted to do, that's what you do. 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, you go do defense force shit, right? And if you want to go help with schools, or you want to go fucking, I don't know, save the world, I don't know, maybe we'll have the World Savior Organization, and you go do that for, I don't know, let's talk about it. But it's a paradigm shift, I'm saying. The thing is, why would we need to create the land grant lottery? What the fuck kind of fantasy weird utopia is this? Well, it's because we are living in a world where wages are depressed. We talk about this free market shit all the time. We jerk off to this idea that we live in a free market paradigm. But we don't. We have no choice. If you don't have resources to start a business, you have no choice but to seek exploitation by somebody, right? And in this case, either you're sweeping the floor, which is exploitation. It might be good. Like I can exploit a hack to use to play a game in a certain way. Or I can exploit the what's it called? The nature of a tool to get a job done, right? So exploitation just means you're being used by someone else. So even if you're getting $5 an hour, you're trading $5 labor for $5 of dollars. Then you're being exploited because that person doesn't have to do that $5 of labor, right? They could be getting paid $10 to do the sweeping for all you know. Right? And they're paying you $5 to do it, right? And so it's you have no choice but to be exploited is the thing. And yeah, you could start your own business, but what business? Right? Without resources, what business? And some people say, well, you don't have to be exploited. You could go live off the land. No, you can't. Whose fucking land are you going to live on? You can't live on the king's land. They're going to kick you off. You can't live on the BLM land. You're going to get you kicked off. You can't live on the corporate land. You can't live on a private land. You can't be homeless, right? So you're going to get kicked off. right? So that's a fantasy. You can't just you can't escape the system. You're captive, right? And the thing is, capitalist pay is inversely proportionate to your desperation. So the more desperate you are in this captive situation where you have to be exploited, and you could say, well, Jane, I came up with an idea where you don't have to have any resources or money or anything and skills or anything or any use value at all, and you can make money and be an entrepreneur. Oh, great. Okay, great. So what's the barrier of entry for everyone to do it? Well, nothing. Okay, so if everyone does it, how much money am I really going to make? Oh, well, I guess if everyone did it, then yeah, we can't. Our end goal or end solution can't be this weird fantasy that doesn't work. That everyone's a business owner and we're all sharing in the exploits of the business. That we're all business, and people are already business owners, are trying to be business owners and failing left and right to be business owners. It's not like people aren't trying to be business owners. That's like already a fantasy. They could do that now. They can't do it. So they're forced in a captive system to be exploited by someone. You find a job to be exploited, and you could try to work on your own, and you live in this precarious position where you could make it big and make a living and whatever. But what if you don't have a skill set at this time, in this juncture of time right now? What if you're really good at like basket weaving or something, but there's just a machine that can basket weave better than you, right? And makes you worthless. So now what? The thing that you're intrinsically good at, you're not good at doing. So now you got to do some shit that you're not good at doing, and you probably get paid shit for it. And now you don't even have to get paid enough to live on. You don't even have to get paid enough to have shelter and food and medical care, right? Some people would say, you know what, fuck it. I don't want to work at these shit jobs that don't pay me enough and all of these things that I just complained about. And I would rather just fucking take my chances out on the land and fucking hoe the field and kill some rabbits and go fishing all day and just take my chances than to go work another day this dead end job that I can't even pay my fucking rent with. And when those people leave because of land grant lottery, guess what's going to happen to the wages? The wages necessarily will go up because they're going to say, fuck this dead end job. I got the land grant lottery. Deuces, I would rather live out on the land. And guess what? All these people are probably going to hang out at land grant places at the land grant college, I don't know, at some place where people's houses and stuff are sort of close, or acreage and whatever. People do it in the country all the time. And they hang out and whatever. Land grant lottery place is going to be on. It's going to be dope as shit. And maybe we'll even have land grant. I mean, maybe just shit will be reappropriated as land grant shit. And you get part of the government housing process. It's basically what it is. And you can still buy your residency, whatever. Or you can jump into this land grant lottery thing. You do your 2 weeks a month. 1 week in a month, and we work it out. And maybe if you want to live in a city in someone else's house that they sold to the government, maybe there's some kind of pay that you COLA, cost of living adjustment, that you make up, that, you know, maybe your time spent with the government cost a certain amount and you get that amount for housing. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Let's fucking talk about it. I think that could be some legislation. It would change the paradigm. I'm not even talking about what people would do if they ended up having free time. How many people are already doing free shit? There was a story that really made it sink in my head. There was a veteran who takes old dead Christmas trees and turns them into canes for wounded veterans for free, and he sends them out to them for free. Why? He's not even getting paid to do this because he just wants to. Because he has his time back. And that's what he wants to do in his heart of hearts. That's what he wants to do. He's doing this useless thing for free. Not useless, but he's doing this thing, but no one else is doing it. No capitalist is doing it for free. Capitalism exists all around us, and they're not doing it. This dude is doing it for free because he has time back, because he's a veteran. He's got his money. He's got some pension. He's old. Something's going on. I don't know. He's getting supported. Imagine you had a worker self-directed enterprise. You worked there 10 years, right? You have shares. You can now live on your shares. You can have dividends. You could sell it for capital infusion, right? Here's the other thing. If we had this paradigm shift, we wouldn't even need the police as much as we have it. People wouldn't People can work hard at a job and be part of an organization and work there for a long period of time and not even have to work there a long period. They could work there 20 years. How many people you know work 30 years, a whole lifetime at a place, and they get shit or they get laid off in the last minute with shit. They get some measly severance that can't even last them a couple months. Right? And what I'm talking about is you're already a part owner of that. The longer you stay there, the more you own, and you're part of that enterprise. And then when you decide you want to leave, you still have those shares. So you can sell off those shares, just like someone owns shares of like you had stock options. But the stock are optional if you want to use your own wage slavery money to buy them. I'm saying no, you should already be guaranteed like a partner that you put your time, you put it on your back. You put your job on your shoulders, and you did that job long enough to stay there for 10 years. If they don't want you, they should fire you. If you're useless, they should fire you. Right? If you're not useless, that means you contributed. That means you built something. That means when you leave, you should have ownership. And that should mean something. Dividends, capital gains of some sort, as if you were a shareholder, like you are, like that's exactly what you are in the worker self-directed enterprise. Think about the time you'd have after you've worked at some measly job. People have already lived this life. They've already lived this weird life, this shitty life I'm describing it, but I'm telling you that if you work at this place and now you have this capital infusion, you can start that job. You can go travel whatever fucking place you want to go do. You could do these things, right? You get your time back, right? Imagine what the world would be like if capitalism had to compete with people with time, just doing shit. There would be no cane. There already aren't very many cane makers making shit out of wood, but there aren't any because they've whittled them down, pun intended, to plastic and whatever can be mass produced, and it costs a lot to get an actually carved cane. So if you're a wounded veteran, chances are capitalism will not provide you with a hand carved wooden cane, but that guy will. People with time will. What kind of weirdo, crazy market will exist when people with time just do shit because they love it and they have money to live on? They don't have to scrounge around to find money to eat and have to have shelter. Now, some people just fucking jerk off all day. Some people play Fortnite all day. Maybe. But I feel like if we change the paradigm, people aren't intrinsically motivated to just do stupid shit all day. I think they want to be part of something bigger and more engaging. And some people just want to play fucking Fortnite all day. Let them be. I think they probably got addiction. There's probably addiction. They should seek help. Because if you're doing something way overboard and it's affecting the rest of your life, that's probably addiction. That's what I'm saying. It's like whatever it is. A lot of people like to be recognized for being productive. If they weren't good at Fortnite, they probably wouldn't play it, right? And they're probably getting praise and and maybe they're team lead of some sort, even though I don't know how the fucking shit works. I never even played it in my life. But there's a draw. I've been addicted to video games, so I feel it. All right, Joseph Stolen. Have to bounce back. Thanks, Joseph Stolen, for tuning in. That's what's up. Esteban Espen, what is up, man? What happens when people start working less in this world you described? People start working less. They start doing what they want. What would you do if you could work less? If you had more time every day, what would you do? I mean, maybe you would just go lounge. Maybe you would just relax and soak in the world. I don't know. What would you do? I don't know. But I'm saying that you would have a better distribution of the profits of the enterprise to the creators of those profits. And like I said, the creators of the enterprise should definitely get something out of that. I propose 15% tax-free. That's definitely an incentive. I would even propose some type of tenure, like a burn-off almost. I don't know. We'll come up with a more sexy phrase. But basically a tribute that you know that you're creating a profit for the enterprise, but you have to tribute like 25 grand or something, right? And you could choose a high wage, right? Then you could have a lower tribute amount, and you could choose a low wage and a higher tribute amount. And once you burn off 25,000, maybe that's sort of your employee stock purchase plan-ish kind of situation, right? And now you have some skin in the game. I would be totally fine with that. It's something where you, as you have tenure, you have a vehicle to equity. And that's great if there are already some places like that. Super duper. There should be more. That should be a paradigm. That should just be it. Like you automatically by law, you're guaranteed if you work in a place for this amount of time. You know what I mean? All right. Oh, good question. He would coach soccer. So see, I mean, so people would just be coaching soccer. How many times have girls or guys or anybody or whoever is out there? I was thinking there's people out there doing coaching, right? A lot of people have a hard time finding the time to go and coach, and they're trying to cram it into their the sort of the rat race you're already living, trying to compete against everyone else, and you don't have this paradigm of time. So imagine you had all day to coach and dedicate to coaching, right? Coach soccer, right? Who knows what levels, and even then levels wouldn't even. What would that even mean? Everyone's competing for fun. It's not because of the money. It's because of the intrinsic value of coaching soccer, right? How many teams don't exist because there are not enough coaches, right? And how many things could be that need funding could just be taken care of with time, in some cases, right? If you had people that had time, and sometimes you do need some funding for stuff. Well, sure, you have money coming, right? You've got dividends, you've got capital gains. What if you have a big cash infusion? What if on top of the time for coaching soccer, you have a capital infusion from selling shares back to the company or in the open market? I don't know. We'll talk. I'm sure we could still have an open market for shares, you know. And these shares would have probably a timeline on them. Let's say you worked for 10 years at a corporation or as worker self-directed enterprise. I would imagine that you would have a 10-year lifespan on them, or something. They would diminish over 10 years, or maybe they stay at the same rate, but on the 10th year, maybe they expire, right? And then I would say that you should have an open market on that. You know, I have a fundamental belief in markets. I feel like if you outlaw something, you're basically guaranteeing that there's going to be a black market in it. So the market's going to happen. So I don't know. So there's a way. So I don't want to sound too nihilistic. I don't want to sound too optimistic, because those optimists get too passionate, and passionate people get taken care of by the ruling class, right? Because this would be a paradigm shift. Ruling class does not like the idea of 15%. They would rather just take it all. That's just not good enough. But it's a bone. It's, come on, let's do this. You can totally make a massive amount of money. I'm sure there's some ways to game the system, but you're still leaving worker self-directed enterprises in your wake. That is great, because guess what? All of these people will have this new paradigm. It's just going to change. It'll change the way people relate with money. It will change people's relationship with each other. It will change people's relationship with work. It will change people's relationship with the government. Imagine if you had more time to keep the government to task. What if we change the paradigm and said Republicans or conservatives, whatever you want to call it, maybe instead of destroying the government and pulling the plug on the government, maybe you should be critical of the government. Maybe you should be the auditors of the government. You should fight fraud, waste, and abuse within the structures of the government. Why do you have to pull the plug? Because it's a sinister aversion from the truth. The truth is they want to put their teeth on the teat of the taxpayer to suckle for the money from privatizing taxpayer services. That's what they want, these people. So free enterprise, yeah, we live within a system of exploitation. You could say free enterprise. It's not really free. The enterprise part's free. The labor's not free. If we had the land grant lottery and some other stuff, then sure, I could say, yeah, we have a free labor market. Because if you don't like the labor market, take your fucking chances on land grant lottery. Go grow some rutabagas and potatoes. Go fishing. Whatever, we'll put out some reservoirs and lakes, probably have aquaponics, type, municipal-ish, land grant lottery funded, like basically it would be a food bank, but it'd be an aquaponics park. So you could go, everyone could go hang out there. There could be people cooking food and da-da-da, and they could still have money and shit. Because just because you won the land grant lottery doesn't mean you don't use money. You still use money, right? So some people don't want to fucking till the fields and shit, but they want to live on the land grant lottery place. So they still go through the land grant lottery because they don't want to live in the regular shit, right? So they go back to, maybe they got a, whatever. They want to set up a stand at the aquaponics park, which also serves as a food bank for land grant lottery. What if you just fucking suck at growing shit out at land grant lottery place, but you really want to do it? You definitely don't want to join the workforce again, and you want to do the land grant lottery thing. But basically, you're gonna have to join the workforce. So now what? Well, you're gonna have to go figure out some other shit to do, while someone else maybe tends your capacity to raise food and collects from it. Maybe they take a surplus or something, take some stipend out of it, or they provide you with food and you pay them some money for it. And then there's a symbiotic relationship. The markets will flourish in the land grant lottery too. Now, but we'll still have a paradigm of worker self-directed enterprise. So even within the land grant lottery, there will exist worker self-directed enterprises. So for instance, within the aquaponics park and a land grant college, there might be a cafe. There might be different things where people are doing stuff instead of tending their shit, because maybe they sounded great, but I don't want to do no shit with rutabagas. Fuck this shit. And I don't want to go back to Walmart. I don't want to go back to CVS or some shit that don't pay the bills. I don't want to do that. I got to deal with Karen too much. I don't want to do it. So I would rather take my chances in the land grant lottery, because it's amazing living out in the country and da-da-da-da-da, all the things you love. And you have the commons and all of these things. And maybe, you know what, you're really good at cooking fish. So people go to the aquaponics park and they buy some fish from the aquaponics park, which is mainly a self-sustaining nonprofit thing from the government, funded, if it has to be funded, by taxes from the 50% investment tax, real estate investment tax. And anyway, you could set up shops and not capitalism, but the markets would still exist. Capitalism is what I'm saying, where capital, whoever has the capital in perpetuity forever owns the rights to profit. So who owns the means of production owns the rights to profit into perpetuity. I feel like that's why we're in the place that we're in now, right? Because this isn't a free society. It's not a free. We don't have land grant lottery. We have a captive workforce, and until we make up for that, we really don't have freedom. We're not free because you can't just go do whatever. And I'm not saying go loot and pillage and shit. I'm not saying you don't get to do that, so you're not free. I'm saying if I said fuck this shit, I'll go take my chances. I can't. I gotta go work and get exploited enough and have enough savings to then maybe possibly try to escape exploitation. And even then, I don't know. Even then, I still need to come up with capital for. Possibly for taxes or some other shit. Who knows? There's always someone coming at you for money. So you still got to figure some shit out. Anyway, so I think that's going to conclude the show tonight. I've got track 5, Separock.
Really? You were amazed.
He is amazed about some chicken.
By a basket of chicken wings?
Yes, basket of chicken wings. Yes, so, by the way, I don't know if you guys can even hear the music or not. I know that this mixer thing is also Wonka, so it's on that. Oh, here we go. Alright, so little Separock beats to let you know. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. You need to help. Hey, Esteban, thank you so much for tuning in. By the way, help grow the audience so we can have this kind of conversation, because I don't have the answers. I'm just trying to talk about what the hell is going on, because we both know. I know you feel it, Esteban. I know you feel the consciousness of people seeing that we got some crazy shit that I don't even know how we got away with doing this for so long. Doesn't make sense. But now the feeling is so strong, right? That you know that consciousness is an awakening. Kind of, I sound like one of these mystics. But at the same time, why are they talking about defund the police? Why are we asking these questions now? Because we had enough, right? Why did one straw break the camel's back? Here's a secret. It's all the other straws underneath it. It's called mathematics. That's Mos Def, the great philosopher and poet, Mos Def, the mighty Mos Def. Yes, so like, subscribe, share, please. Get some people that argue with you, that you get tired of dealing with these people, that you get on your nerve. Tell them to tune in the show. Tell them to get in. I want to argue with some libertarian or something. Bring them on the show, and we can talk about this. Let's see what they think about the land grant lottery, and they'll say, you know what, James, I would vote for you if you were to run. And I would tell them, you believe in the Second Amendment, sir? And he'd say, hell yeah. And I'd say, I need you to turn around and make sure FBI don't shoot my ass, because they will do that if I propose land grant lottery and the destruction of the wage slave system. So just keep that in mind. So please believe in the Second Amendment, because guys like me who want to change the world someday are going to get shot. Like Martin Luther King. I'm not saying I'm him, but if I were to raise my hand and start talking this gibberish like I was for real, like I was going to sit down and come up with a tax plan, which I will 100% do, they will get scared. They fucking get scared. I think they would get scared. They'd be like, oh fuck, this dude. Oh shit, these people like what he's saying. Oh god, he got the crazy Republicans. Oh shit, he got the crazy lefties. Oh damn, he got people actually reading Marx. Oh no, he told people read Adam Smith too. Oh shit, he's talking about it. Oh damn, they saw how we've been fucking lying to them this whole time. Watch. So you gotta protect me. Second Amendment. All right, people. I'm gonna be signing out. Till next time. And I always take forever to do this, because one of these days I'm gonna have a live production of it or something. Some shit like that. Peace out. Seprock Beats. Link in the description.
She was danger, danger when you danger, danger when you she was